Okay, so I'm a pretty big fan of the lockpicking lawyer on YouTube, and I noticed at one point that he used isopropyl alcohol to remove a tamper-resistant sticker, and he was able to reinstall it afterwards after the alcohol had dried. Last night, it occurred to me, hey, I want to get into these Austrian Audios, and these stupid pads are adhesive. And so I carefully used a Q-tip and some isopropyl alcohol and got the pad off. The adhesive remained on there for some reason instead of on here. I guess this is more porous than that, so the alcohol got through it easier, whatever. The important part is I've gotten it apart, and I may be able to reuse the ear pad, which is nice because the ear pad sets for this were $50 when I got it. They are now $70. I am very mad. I couldn't afford it at $50, I can't afford it at $70, but I want to get in there because look at that. So I got this off last night. I checked to make sure that I could get all the screws out. They do come out, that's nice. And I'd like to note this interesting material here. I honestly thought it was plastic at first, but I'm looking at it and it's just like the sheerest cloth I've ever seen. Oh, and I've just noticed there's a smaller one there. That's really weird. Okay. I'm really excited to get into this. I couldn't wait to get a hold of the money to get a new ear cushion set. Since this isn't really structural, I'm sure I can figure out a way to put it back on satisfactorily, at least temporarily. Let's see. I found that it was a T6 socket, so got that going. I don't know if these screws are all the same size. I'm just going to assume they are not. And I will arrange them in such a way that I remember which one is which. There we go. I at first took these screws to be aluminum, but they are magnetic, I've just noticed, so not aluminum. Alright, is it just... No, okay. Let's see... Sticking a metal piece into $400-something headphones. That looks like that's got it. Yeah, there we go. Yep. It's exactly as weird as I'd hoped. You can kind of see the... You can't see much. Hang on, let me zoom in. There, you can kind of see the surrounding bezel where you can see it's got an angle built into it, because they decided that was important. There's the tube. Oh, it's got a cover over it. It looks like it's that same sheer cloth from the front side, so I'm sure that's completely letting air move through, but I can't look in there, which is what I was hoping for. Oh, that is so strange. So this whole cup, this is not the rear volume. This is this littler guy here. Oh, that's weird. And there's a little channel that leads to that ventilation for the rear volume there. That's interesting. I've seen all sorts of headphones have some kind of interface between the front and rear volumes, but usually it's like a nice thick padding or something, which can this come off? Oh no, it looks like that's been melted in place. So there could be some sort of nice thick padding behind there that I can't get to see. Okay. Yeah, there's... Ah! I did not lie. You may be able to see the little hole in there. Let me see, do I have something that can point? Let's see, can I get light? Light? No, I cannot get light. Probably should have taken apart the left one. You'd probably be able to see it then. Let's see. Yeah, you can probably see it at that angle. There's a little hole right there. It leads to the outer world. And that's where that little pipe goes. So yeah, they did some engineering. I don't know what it is. Oh, I always love these little tiny PC boards that they use to solder stuff. This one's got some extra pads to it. I think they're probably using that on the other side as well, I would guess. Because there's 1, 2, 3 extra solder pads available. No, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 extra solder pads available. That's weird. And there's the little interface for the wire to come in here. Yeah. I'm not really willing to take that apart just yet, but that does seem to come apart with the same style of screw. And let's see, the 65 is a fully open back version of this, and it just has like a grill here. This is sticky. Oh, that is interesting. So this is just an adhesive plate that's it's stuck on there. That's weird. I wonder if you could get a hold of the open grill for the 65 and put it on here. I mean, it wouldn't do anything, because this is closed off except for the specifically sized port they care about. But it would be an interesting fashion statement. I suppose an enterprising individual, since this is sticky here, could probably put some additional padding in here if they're working in a louder environment. It might do a little bit, because I assume that's the whole reason that this is closed off, is to provide a little better sound deadening. I've just realized those are little grills. Okay, that's more grills made of this material here. Interesting. So it's got sort of apertures going into this cavern here, and an aperture going to the outside world. That is so weird. This, I would assume in the prototype stage, this whole back module here would come off, and that would be how they would adjust the tuning to check and see if it's usable, and then they just mass produce this whole freaking plastic shell when they get it right. I'm also noticing it's marked as right in multiple places. It's kind of weird. I guess this is a separate piece from this at some point in the manufacturing process, and they want to get it right? Oh, and yeah, the little apertures to the outside are going to be in equivalent portions here and there. So yeah, it would have to be different left and right. The Bayer Dynamics, they have just left and right are identical, as far as I can tell looking at it. The aperture's in front in one and in back in the other. But these guys have specifically wanted it to be this way. The aperture's pointing toward the front. That's interesting. They must figure that does... Because, I mean, they're blocked by the hinge. I'm going to say flipping everything around every way. They're blocked by that hinge there. So maybe having it pointing directly towards something that's loud would be better than having it pointed to, like, the side or something, because it's covered by that. Well, I think that's about all the blind guessing I can do for now. Let me just make sure all of this is going to go together correctly. Yeah, the holes are lining up. Come on. Anyone watching, I assume you're watching like people watch NASCAR, just hoping that something's going to go horribly wrong, because that would be why I would be watching this. But, sorry to disappoint you, that looks like that's going back together properly. That's almost on screen. There we go. Let's see, this one is this one here. I've got to get a bigger workplace. I've got my arm threaded through the tripod for my camera. Because just this space is just not big enough. Oh my gosh. Make sure these are all tight. Again, you can see though weird angle to the plastic there because they wanted it to point in that specific direction. Whew. So let's see. Is my initial hypothesis correct? Will this just stick back on here? Yeah, more or less. It's kind of coming apart in some places. It needed to be replaced anyway. Oh, I can show the very strange method for reattaching these ear cushions, which I've never quite seen anything like before. I mean, there may be somebody out there doing this. I just don't have anything by them yet, but let's see. I always use one of these plastic spudgers, because I just have them laying around, because I'm a sane person. And you sort of tuck plastic into these snaps around the edges. It's very weird. It doesn't get stretched on like a lot of headphone cushions. It sort of snaps into place. It's not the easiest thing. Gotta be careful not to actually puncture the ear cushion. Again, it does already need to be replaced anyway. I think that's on there proper. I did not bring the cable or my iPod to test this with. Let me go see if I can find such a thing. Okay. The reason I took apart the right and not the left is the left has the input in it, which, actually thinking about it, I would have liked to see, but I aimed for simplicity of disassembly. Oh, that probably clipped like mad. I think it was fine. Probably just got the proximity effect going right. Okay. Do they still work? They work like a glove. Alright, I didn't break them, and we got to see inside them. So, that's everything I had planned for today. Thank you for coming along on this journey with me. No, that's Journey to the Microcosmos. I will not say that. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful evening.